women, especially women with breast implants, but women in general, going to the traditional medical model are so not listened to. They are put off, they are told it's in their heads, and that's a big problem because we know that it's not. We know that there's a problem, right? We talked about listening to our bodies before, and we can do that. But when we're constantly told, oh, it's in your head, or there's nothing here, your labs are all normal. And what does that do to your mood, to your mental state, to everything else? It makes you give up the fight a little bit. So we want to encourage everybody that we're here for that. We're here to keep you fighting. We're here to take you down a path that's going to be specific to you and to get you answers and results and let you come out on that other side feeling great and knowing that you have a team behind you.
You're listening to Cleanse, Heal, Ignite podcast, and I'm your hostess, Diane Kaiser, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, former pro soccer player, transformational leader, holistic healer, and life purpose coach, helping you and your business awaken to your full potential. We are a transformation tribe of visionaries empowering passion-quenching, heart-centered advice to wellness warrior leaders on self-love, nutrition, mindset, and divorcing perfectionism. Our mission is to help you laugh your way to a sexy belly, love your way to vitality, and live your life with purpose by sharing real talk and truth drops that will help you cleanse your body, heal your hormones, and ignite your life. Side effects of this podcast may include all-day energy, happy hormones, perfect poops, increased confidence, becoming your own best healer, and catching the self-love virus. There's currently no vaccination to protect you from this and no known cure. In most cases, listeners experience a strong desire to accept new challenges, ditch toxic people, follow their heart, and dance like no one's watching. If you experience moods happier than usual, live it unapologetically and share with your social media friends immediately. All right, welcome back to episode 2. The last episode, we left you off talking about genetics and how genetics can play a fundamental role in your gut healing, your detoxification, drainage pathways, hormones, as well as many other things, including in the brain. So we are going to talk a little bit more extensively in the second episode about blood testing and how you can look into optimal ranges of blood testing and how when your doctor tells you everything looks normal on your blood test, but you don't feel normal, why is that? And we're going to dive into my exact lab research and results, as well as the different ratios that are healthy. So if you really want to feel amazing, just taking a standard conventional blood test today through a conventional doctor and having them look at these really wide ranges, which are, by the way, made from sick people. If you're within these ranges of sick people, then it's not going to make any difference what they find in these ranges because they're treating you as though you are destined to be a sick person. They will not treat you with anything unless you're out of these wide ranges and you are considered a diseased person at this point, because at that point they can make money off of your illness instead of capitalizing you on your wellness. So let's dive deeper into this. And again, like we mentioned in both of these episodes, Jess and myself, we invite you to consider joining us for the Warrior Detox or the Explant Detox. We are leading the same group of women starting August 3rd of 2021. We will be doing this again. So if you don't make it this one, you could also apply to get on the waiting list for the next one, which is explantdetox.com and warriordetox.com. Just even if you do miss it, then please just apply because we will consider you even in between if you are somebody who is at an advanced stage of chronic illness and really needs help now. So please take a note of all these things we talk about here. Know that it is a very, very unique process that we take our clients through and is a very sacred one for us. And for the most part, every single person today needs to be focusing on detox as their number one to not only survive where we are currently in the climate of toxicity and trauma that is at the highest that we've ever seen in human history, but as well as to improve the immune system, as well as to stay healthy as possible and to thrive. So that's not just only to survive, it is to thrive because I feel better than I ever have after removing my breast implants, silver medal in my mouth, as well as continuing the detox journey because it doesn't just end with a 7-day cleanse or a 30-day cleanse or a 3-month protocol. This is what we teach our clients is to have a cleansed body, a healed temple, and an ignited soul and heart so that you guys can keep your results forever. It is time that we end this rotating in and out of feeling great and roller coaster up and down of energy, disease free. And it gets really tumultuous. And it's not very good for your body. So we teach you how to have lasting results and to retain the transformation that you get when you work with us for at least a 3-month journey that we take you on the Warrior Detox or the Explant Detox. Let's move into episode 2.
So we can see on her marker, it's the bottom half, it's flagged high in red, beta glucuronidase. So when we see this marker elevated, we know there's something going on with the hormones, but also with conjugation of the hormones and excretion. So typically the liver is going to help conjugate and bind together these estrogens and get rid of them out of poop. And what's happening here, she may be pooping just fine, but the conjugation is starting and getting broken back up, or it's not working properly to begin with. So that's part of the whole methylation picture too. And we see that oftentimes when we have somebody that has high estrogen. And then we also look at the GI map for the beta glucuronidase to see if there's a connection there. There isn't always, but when there is, it's like ding, 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 because that estrogen just keeps circulating in that client. And that leads to the high estrogen type symptoms like the fibroids, like some of the other things, the tender breasts that go with high estrogen or estrogen dominance, inability to lose some weight. Again, you're not going to have all of those issues, but a couple of them, it's always the correlation with the client. You could see it on the tick sheet. Oh, there it is. That's what they're dealing with. And there's our marker. There's that guy. So again, it's not that always connected. Oh, that's the dirty guy there. It's a compilation of everything. And that's the beauty of looking at all these tests alongside of the client themselves, instead of just looking at tests and saying, oh, this is what you got, you're done. No. Well, if they're telling me they have no issues with a certain thing and I see a marker on here, I'm like, okay, well, then that's probably not that big of a problem. Let's move on to the next one. But it's kind of like an art, I guess, if you will, and a science combined together. You're kind of finessing it all to make sure you're on the right path and not just accusing everything that you see on the lab.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jess. And I also love you to talk about Secretory Iga. For me personally, when I saw my GI map, I'll stop share for a second. I'll come back. But when I saw my GI map and I saw some of these things, and this is the lab test that we're using in our practice. And again, you guys, if you just went to a GI doctor or a functional medicine doctor and said, hey, can you run a GI map on me? And they don't understand breast implant illness and they don't understand detox also in correlation to looking at hormones and optimizing all of them in addition to mindset, they're going to give you a pill protocol. And if you're working in the single practitioner, just one session at a time model, rather than having somebody on your side for a good long period of time, like a 3-month time period, which is why we offer at least 3 months, you're not going to get to the root cause of just not treating these labs. That, like Jess just said, someone will treat the lab, but they won't treat you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. That's why the thorough health history and really understanding your emotional patterns and mental patterns and looking deeper at all these things is so, so important. So I just wanted to say that. And I'm not saying that to toot our horn, but I'm saying that because we get people results. We actually see people finally getting results when they otherwise had just run a lab with somebody and done a treatment protocol and they went to a doctor. Oh, I got to go to see a doctor. And Jess and I are like, well, yeah, but most people go see doctors and the doctor only has time for a $500 1-hour session with you and will put you on a treatment protocol for 3 months. But then where do you go when you have answers in the meantime? What happens if you take a supplement and you have a bad Herxheimer reaction and you feel like crap? You're going to want to stop. In fact, you probably will stop. And you might think, well, the protocol's not working. It was too painful. But there's a reason why, and you need to have somebody, we highly encourage you to have somebody there you can communicate with along the way so that you can make adjustments to the protocol and then also address the mindset or be able to dig deeper at the same time. So it's really important these days. It's very difficult to go about this on your own or just like a one, treatment model session. So I also wanted to say that I'll bring this image back here. And Jess, how are we doing on time?
We're good.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to show you guys this image, bring it back again. For me, I always say in my book, I talk about this in my book, Killer Breasts, which is, you guys, hopefully you have this book already, Killer Breasts, killerbreastbook.com. In the book, I talk about the types of labs that we run. I also talk about I show you my labs. And one of the biggest things for me is when I saw the Secretory Iga and my GI map, I was devastated. My GI map showed my Secretory Iga, aka my gold standard immune function, my ability to respond and be resilient to information in my gut. That number that you see here on this client that we're working with who had breast implants, this is after her breast implants were removed, by the way. Her Secretory Iga was very low at 301. Mine was 44 when I had breast implants in. So I realized that my body had been fighting so hard to protect me for a long time. And I needed to give my body every chance to survive that I could, because I was losing my ability to fight off infections, to digest food, to handle information. It was really sad for me. I cried. And these lab tests are not here to make you depressed. They're here to wake you up. And they're here to help you stop crying because you feel like crap all the time, right? And also, mind you, this client had a parasite. My chiropractor at the time, I was doing muscle testing. And that was another time I cried because I was like, I can't keep coming back to the chiropractor 3 times a week to get adjusted. My rib cage is moving constantly. My shoulder's constantly moving. What is the root cause of all of this? And I went ding, ding, ding. Oh my gosh, parasites are there to be the bottom feeders to mop up the mess of heavy metals and gunk in the gut. I had a parasite indeed, but before I tested it, we muscle tested it. And I said, ask my body if it thinks that these breast implants are the parasites sucking the life out of me. He goes, that's an interesting question. Let's ask. And I got a positive. So my body was like, you are two huge parasites as plastic trophies atop your heart that were plastic prisons, just sucking the life out of me. And I did have blastocystis communis, which is another root. A lot of people have thyroid issues, which I had Hashimoto's. They have blastocystis communis. They have a lot of mercury and aluminum, and they have thyroid imbalances, which are the key root cause for Hashimoto's, which I reversed all of mine. You guys can go check out my free breast implant illness ebook too. And you could see the markers, my before and after markers, where my hormones just drastically improved. So if you're out there listening, if you have breast implants, or if you have silver fillings, or have had any of these things, and you still have autoimmune issues, come to Jess and myself, and we will look at these things, because you still, if you have never done a deep dive cleanse, hormone rebalancing, and gut protocols since after you've removed these things and you still have problems, then it could be that we find the reason in these labs. And even if you feel like you're okay, but if you have removed your breast implants, I still highly recommend that you get these labs done after, because breast implants leave a hell of a residue throughout your body. And a lot of this stuff gets trapped in your lymphatic system, and it can't get out until we go on a protocol to remove them. And those are the supplements that Jess and I recommend for you, as well as drainage protocols. So go ahead, Jess, take it away, because you had breast implants as well.
Yeah. Fun times.
Yeah.
What a mistake. I think we can all say that now.
A fail forward, because we learned, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now you and I both have this passion to help other women who have had them. So It's not just, hey, let's fix myself and get out of this mess. It's like, wait a minute, we've got to be a voice. And so getting on to Secretory Iga, so that can be, anything your body is fighting. When we see that low or really high, it could be on the flip side. When it's really high, it's kind of like, okay, something probably acute is going on. Maybe it's a food issue. If you still currently have implants, or if you just had them removed, something's getting dumped into the system. And I like to explain it to people as this: IgA is, it's your body's first line of defense, and it's on all your mucosal linings in the body. So eyes, nose, mouth, the pipe that runs from the mouth to the anus and the vagina, all mucosal linings all have secretory IgA. So if you live in an area that has pollen, or if you've ever been around cigarette smoke, you inhale any of that, your body's first reaction is typically cough, sneeze, because it's trying to expel. But basically what we see when we see that low secretory IgA number is it's just tired. It's tired of fighting the fight, and it needs help. So if somebody came and did not have breast implants, it'd be like, okay, I'm going to suspect probably something else, like a food allergy, basically an antigen. The body is creating an antigen against something. And a lot of times it's food related. So that's pulling it all the way back to our nutrition talk too, and really customizing it to a client and finding that out, turning over those rocks to find out what's underneath it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And blastocystis communis too, you guys, is really no fun. And we see that this client had some level of blasto, and she was also having thyroid issues. This is the same one that had fibroids that needed to be surgically removed. This is also the same one who removed her breast implants because she wanted to have every best opportunity that she could to make a healthy baby. So I'll stop screen share, and we can share just a little bit more left here about a couple other case studies that we worked with. But this is why it's so important to, if you especially want to conceive, clean your body out. Come work with us for a good 3-6 months. Let us clean you out, because the average baby today is born with 250 plus chemicals found in their body. There's hundreds of chemicals found in the umbilical cord. So these babies are born with a difficult they're starting from square one with a poor functioning immune system, and their bodies are already having to fight at getting rid of a lot of these toxins. Silver fillings, if you've never appropriately removed them, that's important. That's what the next person we're going to talk about is somebody who came to us and had really desire to get her silver fillings removed. And this is what happens. A lot of people think, okay, well, we just got to remove the silver fillings and I'll be done. First of all, it's important to remove your silver fillings with a biological dentist. You guys go listen to my podcast. We've already done one on this, on my Chi podcast, and I talk about biological dentistry and the importance of going to a doctor you can find on IAOMT.org who does the SMART protocol and the safe mercury amalgam removal technique. And it's important to have a doctor that knows how to properly remove that so that it doesn't travel to the brain. However, so this client did come to us and she did have it done the proper way, but just keep in mind that if you've had these things in your teeth for a long time, even a short time, even with breast implants, it doesn't have to be a long time. These things all bleed and travel through our body. So especially mercury fillings being right here, right next to the brain, we can almost guarantee that she's got a lot of these silver fillings in her brain. And there is no lab test that you can do to test how many mercury, aluminum byproducts are living in the brain. There is nothing that we can do. There's a lot of people will say you can do an HTMA test, hair tissue mineral analysis test. You can do a challenge test with DMSO. You can do our DMPS. You can do you can't do blood testing for accurate testing to see how many heavy metals you have throughout the body. You can do things that we do in our detox protocols. We have a neurotoxic quiz, which you guys can take on my website. Go to dianekaiser.com and click on the top 10 toxins link, where you can get a free assessment to see how toxic that you are. If you have symptoms, that could be because they're related to heavy metals, and it's highly recommended that you do a heavy metal detox with us. We also do, liver testing too, your urine testing, to see how many byproducts are showing up in your urine based on how much your liver is excreting. So we know how to do all this stuff safely. I do more of the detox work, just as more of like the diagnostic lab testing that we're talking about here. So this client came to us, she just had her silver fillings removed, and we also uncovered some other stuff with her. And Jess, I'll let you take it away because you had a recent call with her and she was doing some binder protocols that I had put her on, but there was other stuff too. Like she had quit her job as well because she found her job was toxic for her. Very creative, sweet, amazing woman. And her creative talents and abilities and desires, dreams were being held back by her health issues and toxins that we found that were happening throughout her body. So I'll let you take that one away, Jess.
Yeah, so she was great to work with. All the ladies have been, but just her vibration and her energy level were just awesome. So she came in, she had some gut stuff going on. So we addressed that. She was going through the detox protocol as well, prior to uncovering some gut stuff and hormone stuff, and had some symptoms that go along with all that stuff. So, put together a protocol for her based on all of that. And we were having our third call, just kind of, okay, let's make sure everything's in place because we're getting ready to graduate, right? We're at month 3. What's next for you? And she was great. She had quit, as Diane mentioned, a job that was just toxic for her. And she was on cloud 9, and she hadn't even been completed yet with the protocol. She still had about 2 months to go with some supplementation. And we were just reviewing to make sure we didn't need to tweak anything. So that was on a Tuesday, and a week and a day later, we had another call with her in a group setting on one of the webinars, and she was not feeling the same. And the one thing that changed was she had run out of one of her products, which was a binder, a special binder that's used for the detox protocol. And she happened to have a bentonite clay product available to her, left over from something else she had done in the past. So the question to me was, can I just use this in the meantime? Because I'm waiting for some more supplements. And I said, sure. She was ordering some other supplements. They were on their way. And then when we had our follow-up call with her, she's like, I'm not feeling good. There's a particular test that she will take to look at her toxic load. It's a urine test. So she did another one of those, and the color had drastically changed from the week before. It was like, wait a minute, you're going in the wrong direction. And we just pretty much broke it down to, it's the one binder that she just went off of for about 8 days, that week and a day. And it became very clear to us as she kept explaining it. And she knew too, like she was really able, somebody that's very in tune with her body, she was really able to narrow it down because she kept coming back to that. And Diane and I were like, well, what else is going on? Something else must be going on. And then at the end, it was like, nope, that's what it is, definitely. So, her fix was basically get that other binder that she had been on for the whole 3 months, get that back in place, an obvious sign that your body still needs it. And that's what Diane and I like to preach a lot about too, is your body will speak to you. You just need to listen. Yeah. So we need to clear the clutter so your body and you can communicate finally, because we've gone far too long without the communication. We're like blinders on, ears plugged. I'm just going through life. But our body has an amazing way, because of how we're created, to talk to us, to tell us when there's a problem, and to point us in a direction. And we're here to absorb all that with you guys and work along with you to get to the problem and fix it.
That'll be the highlight of the show right there, Jess. That was beautiful. It was awesome, because it's true. And that's what the chi of life is all about too, is understanding that your body is speaking to you in your branches. And it's Jess and my job to look at your leaves, look at your fruits, look at the integrity of the branches and go, because there's 11 systems of your body, and like the immune system branch and the digestive branch and the hormone branch, and to really understand which of these things needs help first and the most, and which order, so that we can get you some relief care until we can get to the root cause, while we wait to get your labs back. And of course, like Jess said, this client was doing a detox with us too. Some clients come to us and they just do detox. And some clients are like, I need to go the full gamut because I understand I've done detox work and it hasn't helped me get all the way. And then we always recommend you guys, if you can make this your number one priority, use your health spending account, which you can, to work with us. You can use your health spending account. You can, talk to your tax attorney or tax filer, because I used to be a financial planner. You can write off the medical expenses that you do with us on your taxes, of course, in excess of 7.5% of your income if you're a business owner. But this is the most important thing. If you don't have your health, then you don't have anything. You can't think clearly. You don't have the energy to do the things that you want to do. You're not performing well anywhere. So this needs to be number one. Don't wait until it becomes so bad that you're in bed, which many of our clients do. And it's, this is not about a guilt or a shame trip, but we got to clean it all up. We are in a very pivotal transition right now where we're being called up to clear the clutter, just like Jess said. And that means like getting it all out of the things that live inside your body. Also, we have a long list, and I'll just show it to you for a second, but we have a long list where we look at in our detox protocol, as well as where are all the key sources in your life where toxins are being added in your environment and your beauty care routine and your personal care products, the things that you take baths with, the quality of air, the people around you, EMFs. And we don't say this to overwhelm you, but there are many key healing opportunities. So the moment you think, I've done it all, I've tried it all, I've seen all the people, I've tried all the pills, I've done all the detoxes, you haven't worked with us. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that with ego. I say it with pride, because we have huge hearts and a huge amount of wisdom and knowledge, and we've been through it. We have empathy, education, and experience. We've been through a lot of these things. I've had a full mouth of silver fillings. I did it the wrong way. So we're here to teach you the right way, because the wrong way hurts and it costs a lot of money. And that's also why Jess and I became practitioners, because we wanted to help ourselves get to the root of it and then really pass this torch on to you guys so that you can become your own best healer, doctor, friend, sister, and all the things, so you can learn to listen to the wisdom of what your body's trying to tell you. Because yes, there are binders out there. Before you check off, yeah, I have a binder, I take activated charcoal. Yeah, I do a binder, I do bentonite clay. Yeah, I have a binder, I do pectosol C. Realize that a lot of these binders that we are working with here are like multitude of different kind of binders. So they're going to cover a lot of ground, and they're going to be strong enough to pull all of these things out of your body. Let me make sure I covered everything here. I think we pretty much have. There was one more thing I wanted to screen share with you guys. And that is one thing that we also like to look at. You're out there doing a lot of blood tests, and we commend you for that. The last thing we will say here is, before you check off, I went to my doctor, I had a blood test, and everything was normal. Well, here's what can happen. Jess, do you want to take this one away, or do you want to let me do some and then I can take it over to you? Which one would you prefer?
You know what? I'll take this one on. I think maybe with my previous employment history, I was a pharmaceutical rep. So I knew all about PPIs. This is going back to an earlier conversation, but those drugs were meant to be used for 8 weeks only, and people are on them for years. So anyway, side shot, but the labs, I was working in a specialty market for cardiovascular health, looking at all the inflammatory markers. So I just have a real passion for labs. And when we look at those specialty labs, we are getting deeper, just like we do with the GI map and the Dutch. We're getting deeper information, more streamlined, more personal. It's supposed to be personalized medicine. I mean, we are in 2021 right now. Personalized medicine was like the biggest and best thing in 2010 when they mapped the human genome, which was before that, but they started figuring all this stuff out. But where's it gotten us? Nowhere, not in traditional medicine anyway. So looking at those more specialized tests, but more importantly, looking at them in the frame of what do those results mean? I don't want to be as good as everybody else is getting their lab work done. I want to be optimal, right? So that's a huge takeaway. When you get your lab work done, you are not seeing optimal ranges. You are seeing the patients that came in before you that have diabetes, cancer, they're overweight, insulin resistant, thyroid issues, you name it, they've got it. And you've got a few normals in there. But how would you use that to assess your health? You shouldn't. You need to use an optimal range. And that's what this is showing you here on this marker. So we have all the blood tests that we think are ideal and beneficial to get, because side note, if you take a list of tests to your primary care doctor and say, can you run these? I'm going to tell you, they're probably not going to run them all. And they're not even going to tell you. They'll say, oh yeah, okay. And then you'll go get your lab slip. And guess what? When we look at them, we'll be like, well, where's this, this, and this? Well, I told them I wanted it, but listen, they're going to order what they think is ideal because they are the doctor. Now, I'm not saying
it's so frustrating,
right? Not every doctor is like that, but I'm pretty picky about the doctor I go to because I was in pharmaceutical sales for so long. And boy, do you get a different view of doctors. Let me tell you, do not put them on a pedestal, please. So I'm pretty picky with the doctor I do choose to go to for my yearly physical. And he'll even tell me no with a few tests. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to order it through Life Extension. Yeah. So regardless, we have this unique thing. So it gives us as the practitioners all of the information that can help us more personalize what we think is going to be ideal for you. If you look at the arrows, you see some arrows going down in blue and you see some arrows going up in red. So those are indicators of they're flagged and they're saying, well, this is either higher than it should be or lower. And if you looked at traditional reference ranges, it would be far off of that. So this is so key to take a deeper look at your health. And after working with a lot of Diane's clients over these last 3 months, almost every single call I had with them, I said, we need to get more information.
Especially on the thyroid.
Yeah. Stool and urine test, the Dutch and the GI map, great information. Lets us know what's going on at a pretty deep, detailed level. But what's going on with that thyroid? Because remember, it's all interconnected. We shouldn't go to a gastroenterologist, a breast specialist, a gynecologist, and a family practitioner or internist. We are one system, just like Diane's tree. We are one system. It all works together. There's feedback loops and so on and so forth. So if one system is off, others are going to be off. And how does that get managed well when you've got 5 cooks in the kitchen, right? So looking at all this at a deeper level, I'm a little bit passionate about this, as you can tell. I love labs and I love the specialty labs that can really dig deep and give us more of a personalized approach, because we've been worked on with our doctors for the last X amount of years. Nothing's been personalized.
Exactly.
We've been put in a box and gotten the same treatment as the person in there before us that had the same issue, but we're not the same.
Especially thyroid, you guys. So the thyroid related markers here, I wanted to show you this and I'll let Jess comment on them. That so many people come to us and they're on Synthroid or they're on some kind of thyroid medication. And when we start working with them, they start feeling like, oh my God, I have heart palpitations. I feel like anxiety. And the first thing we look at is, okay, what kind of medications are you on? Because when we start working on the root cause reasons and resolve the reasons why they had an off thyroid to begin with, something was off, they were missing nutrients, it's like 11 minerals that it takes to make your thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormone T3 is 3 iodine molecules, and there's, magnesium and potassium and all kinds of other minerals that make hormones. 98% of minerals are made, or hormones are made from minerals. So a lot of times people are mineral deficient, and minerals can't get into the cell if there are metals occupying that. So that's why when we do a heavy metal detox, and we pull the heavy metals out of the cells, the minerals can get in now because there's room. So many of you are taking mineral supplements but they might even just go in and out of the body because metals are like, sorry, dude, we're occupying the inside of the cells. So when we finally go on a heavy metal detox and then also restore the external cellular matrix and repair that, then things start working again and people don't need to be on medications. Sorry, FDA, not sorry. So we see women going, you know what, I'm going to get off my thyroid medication. And that has happened with several of the women that came to us this time. They didn't need to be on their medication anymore, especially thyroid, because it's one of the most popular and common one that women are on. So I'll let Jess take it away here on like what these optimal ranges are for things like TSH versus what you're going to see on a blood test for TSH or anything else that you see here.
Yes, if you take a look, the TSH, that's the best one to use, because oftentimes a TSH is the only one a doctor will order. And if that's off, they may order the free T3, free T4, and some other markers. But here you can see her result is 0.531, and their optimal range is 1.8, to 3, if I'm saying that right. And when you go outside of a regular reference range, it's typically, I think it's like
0.5 to 5.
0.5 to 5. Yeah, I couldn't remember the bottom
or
number.
0.25. 0.25, depending on where you go, 0.25 to 5. It used to be 0.25 and 7.5.
Yeah. And a lot of that TSH is so low because so many people are on thyroid today, thyroid replacement. So that pulls down the TSH number pretty significantly. So we see those super low numbers, but that's not normal. You're not going to have that energy. So just, that's the prime example one there too. And then, every lab is a little bit different with their T3s and their T4s, but TSH is pretty standard. So what else is on there? That's good. So her homocysteine, that's a good marker of issues with methylation. And we used to look at that in the cardiac realm too. So basically looking at if somebody has a heart issue, but hers is 8.4, and it's flagged high. When I was in the cardiac field with those specialty lab testing, I want to say doctors didn't even like get a fire under their bum until it was like in the mid-teens. It's like, wait, no, wait a minute. And it's same thing. I don't think you have insulin on here, but insulin is huge too. Fasting insulin should be really low. But if it's above 5, it should be less than 5. And if your fasting insulin is above that, it's like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. That's just fasting insulin. Well, wait a minute. When are you going to diagnose me with diabetes then?
That's the insulin.
Yeah.
Here.
So her insulin is very low. So 3.3, but that's just another example of these reference ranges are so broad in primary care, internal medicine, but disease doesn't start as soon as a number is flagged. Disease has a long progression. So typically diabetes is a great example of this. Somebody will be pre-diabetic and not even actually clinically in their chart yet diagnosed as pre-diabetic. They will be pre-diabetic for probably 10 years before it's identified as pre-diabetes. And then it's a shorter period until it's full on diabetic because they're like, oh, well, let's get a test this year. Let's watch it. Work on your diet. Yeah. Just go to the diabetic, a registered dietitian who's diabetic certified. That's going to tell you to eat more carbs. And it's like so backwards.
Totally. I remember even too, when I went and had my breast tissue examined when I was doing my MRI before I had my implants out, and they found dense breast tissue, like the highest density of breast tissue. And they're like, here's your results. And I said, oh, it says I'm really dense. And that was like a month before I had my implants removed because I had to go through all of that before my procedure. And I said, what does this mean? What would you guys recommend? And I'm doing this as an experiment, right? I know what they're going to say very likely, and I know what I need to do, but I'm asking them, hey, so what do I do with this? I've got a really high breast tissue density. And they said, oh, well, there's nothing that you can do now. We're just going to, watch it. And if it gets any higher, then we would do we would want to do a mammography and see if you have breast cancer. And I'm like, so you wait until I get cancer. Right now, my body's speaking to me with high breast density tissue, but there's nothing I can do about it. No, we just watch it. And I'm like, this is the problem. Why is breast cancer on the rise? Weird. So we're not going to do anything with you because there's no money to be made, but there's a lot of money in breast cancer. So we'll wait until you have cancer and then we'll make like $100,000 plus on you. So that's cha-ching. So it's ridiculous. It's so backwards. And you guys hopefully by now know this, but how much longer do we need to keep going to the doctor and running more blood tests and trusting them with our lives? It's insanity. So, I wanted to also point out too here that, ferritin is another big one. We can look at this test and go, so many different directions, but in the essence of time, we'll start cutting it now. But ferritin is another one that people look at, and my mine's low at 32. I think that's too low. Even on this test, we say optimal is 15 to 200. We like to see it much higher than that, like over 100, because it's your iron storage hormone. So that is low ferritin is one of the three causes, one of the three types of anemia. So you could have fine iron, but your ferritin might be super low. And then other things too, like I obviously have some thyroid related issues here on this test. Homocysteine before was 15 before I had my implants out. That was really high. Now it's much lower, which is good, but it's still high, according to optimal ranges. And then of course, all these things like, how's your metabolism? You don't need to get super fancy, you guys, and take like 6 different tests and work with the most advanced doctors in the world. We could look at just some optimal ranges with what's going on with your blood tests. This is what Jess and I dive into beyond the Warrior Detox. We get into the more advanced levels. So just so that you know, just because we work with people just for like 3 months, doesn't mean that's it. We're done. There's so many more healing opportunities, and we can get more and more and more advanced. It's not just like detox and then you're done. The point is that we have a lot of different shovels. We have to pull out a lot of different rocks to look under and see what's going on there. You also might have mold in your home, and we could look at that too without getting super advanced on, really dressed up organics acids tests. So we could look at your environment, which there is plenty of work to be done there that could take years. Some of my clients have been with me for years, and that's not to scare you. That's just to say that please don't give up hope, that just because you've worked with the best of the best doctors and you spend a lot of money, it could get very tedious, but also you just might not have had a team, a coach that can go, hey, let's team up here. Let's see what kind of toxin terrorists that you have traumatizing you from the inside out. And then Jess, I wanted you to, say that last thing about what we were talking about is people practitioner hop and they listen to a bunch of summits and they read a bunch of books and they could actually numb themselves out by discounting, just taking the plunge and investing the time and the money and the energy to work with finally a team that could help them get to where they want to go.
Yeah, there's so much information out there and we're so grateful for it. I mean, Diana's put a lot of information out there too, free for people to have. And there's nothing to say that that's wrong. But when people go from absorbing that information, and who knows what their background is, if they're in the medical field as a nurse or something of the like, then maybe they can absorb that and really run with it. But a lot of people are not. So when they absorb that information, it's overwhelmed for sure. And it's like, where do I start? Okay, I'll just start here. But then they leave all the other things on the table, get burnt out from where they started, don't see a fix. And then they just are like, whatever. So totally frustrating. And a point that has come up, I think on a previous call, Diane, or maybe it was a conversation between you and I, is that women, especially women with breast implants, but women in general, going to the traditional medical model are so not listened to. They are put off. They are told it's in their heads. And that's a big problem because we know that it's not. We know that there's a problem, right? We talked about listening to our bodies before, and we can do that. But when we're constantly told, oh, it's in your head, or there's nothing here, your labs are all normal. And what does that do to your mood, to your mental state, to everything else? It makes you give up the fight a little bit. So we want to encourage everybody that we're here for that. We're here to keep you fighting. We're here to take you down a path that's going to be specific to you and to get you answers and results and let you come out on that other side feeling great and knowing that you have a team behind you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jess. I love you, girl. That was very, very nourishing to hear. And it's just what everybody does need to hear, because you probably have been told, oh, it's just all in your head. Sure it is. Our mindset does drive a lot of what's down here, but that's such a bypass, and that's so irresponsible, and it's so dismissing and belittling and traumatizing. And, you go home and you think, well, maybe I'm just stuck with this. Maybe I'm just destined for sickness. Maybe I should just accept my illness. Basically, that is like the equivalent of ripping out the check engine light from your car and saying, I don't want you to tell me when I need gas. And you end up on the side of the road. And this will happen time and time again. Our system needs a massive remodel. And so Jess and I are on a mission to do that in our Warrior Detox and Explant Detox. So if this speaks to you and anybody that you know out there, which is really, truly all women, all of us, But if you are somebody who's listening to this and you are inspired truly, and you're like, this is it, this is speaking to me, and not that you're interested, but that you were ignited, you were ready for this, you were ready to take the plunge, you were ready for transformation, you were finally ready to feel good, and you're ready to talk to somebody about it, then go to Explant Detox if you have or have had breast implants, and apply to work with us. We don't just take anybody, because it takes a very special woman that we truly connect with to feel like this woman is ready. And she's ready for transformation, and fill out the application there, and Jess will get a hold of you. And if you are somebody who has not had breast implants, but maybe silver fillings, go to the Warrior Detox. Any other person other than breast implants, go to the warriordetox.com. And the reason I have them in two different places is because we speak a different language to women who have had breast implants, but we are all helping in the same space. So go to warriordetox.com and apply to work with us there. We start our next group August 3rd. If you're listening to this after August 3rd, well, we are always starting groups every quarter. So if it's like August 4th and you're hearing this, still apply to work with us. We can still possibly help you in the meantime. We don't just leave anybody on the side of the road. We do listen to the check engine light here. So you can apply, and we will either put you on the guest list and the waiting list for the next one, or we're going to work with you to help you in the meantime. So thank you guys so much for listening. I'm going to put this into a part 1 and a part 2, because we talked about so much, but we covered a lot of ground, you guys. And there's a lot more rocks I always think of the wrong word, to overturn, even beyond what we didn't have time to talk about today specifically, but we do have in the program. Our job is to look at all the possibilities and go, that symptom sounds like this. Maybe it's not hormonal. Maybe it's magnetic, maybe it's a electromagnetic frequency. Maybe you're, using those disastrous earbuds that are the AirPods that are in your ears that are just brainwashing you all day long, like you're in a microwave. So there's a lot of things to look at, you guys, and we're not afraid of any of it. And we hope that you're not as well. So go to explantdetox.com or warriordetox.com. And if this spoke to you and you think there are others that are out there that that it could speak to, share those links with them. We will give you a bit of a discount if you refer somebody to us, and you guys can be accountability buddies throughout the detox program. Any final closing thoughts, Jess?
No, but whenever we get together, Diane, we run long. So good thing you're breaking this up into 2 calls.
I know it's so hard. It's so hard to cover all the goodness here. And you and I have so many, positive contributions and real talk. Like, this is real talk, you guys. We're not hiding behind anything. And we're not shaming anybody, but we are elevating you. We are calling you to challenge yourself more than you ever have, because you will not recognize yourself after working with us for 3 months. We promise you that. If you do the work, we will promise to show up to help you dive deeper into your body than you ever have. And you will leave feeling inspired and transformed. So I'm Diane Kaiser, and that's been Jess Donces. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. And we will see you in the Warrior Detox or the Explant Detox. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If this episode really tugged at your soul and you're ready to have your personal breakthrough, we would love to have a heart-to-heart with you to get you crystal clear on 3 things. What do you want? What's standing in your way? And how do we get you to your soul goal in the fastest time possible? Visit my site, dianekaiser.com/call to schedule your free 1-hour connection session with one of our warriors to map out exactly how you want to look, feel, and live. We've helped thousands of women warriors just like you all around the world free themselves from the symptoms and suffering they never thought possible. And you just might be our next success story. Talk soon.